Greetings, ladies. How is everybody doing today? I know it's a big start for Monday morning, right? Actually, it's probably afternoon for some people, or maybe even evening if you're on the other side of the world. But for me, it's morning. It's 9 a.m. on Monday morning for me. But just wanted to say hi and start with saying thank you so much for being here today. And I appreciate you being here very much. And I use Be Live instead of Facebook Live, and I like to watch the screen, the camera itself, so that you guys see me looking at you. And the thing is, I don't necessarily notice if there's going to be any comments. So please bear with me as I look. If there are comments, I will be looking. So bear with me. I am paying attention. I am on track. If you do have any questions or comments, please feel free to pop them in, and I will be checking comments as I go through the training this morning. So just to dive right in, talking about taking control of who you are in your business. Now, how do we do that? Well, that's a big question, isn't it? But the big thing is that the one thing that I thought when I first came up with this plan for this training was, I don't know if everybody has seen Jurassic Park, and when everything falls apart and all of the dinosaurs are loose, and they're talking about the fact that if he only had control, he would be able to make it work. And the woman says to him, that's the illusion. There is no control. You never had control. And that actually is true. We don't have control, not of anything out here. What we do have control of is ourselves. We have control over ourselves, our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings, and our behaviors. And that's the only thing that we have control over. We do not have control over what's happening outside of ourselves, as far as in our home, with our children, our spouses, our coworkers, our employees, our clients. We don't have control of that. What we do have is control over us. We have our control over how we respond, how we behave, how we act, how we think, all of those things through any given day at every time that we possibly can. So on that note, I know everybody always says that you have to be in control of yourself, or that's the only thing that you have control over. And everybody always says, well, just have control over yourself. Well, how do you do that? There's a lot of mindsets. There's a lot of, meditation, being more present with yourself, all kinds of things like that. Well, I have come up with something that's a little bit more tangible and is, in my opinion, a little bit easier to follow and to be there with. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through all this. So first off, knowing yourself is the key to controlling yourself. Because if you don't really know yourself, then how do you possibly know how you can control yourself? If you don't know your strengths, your weaknesses, any part of who you are, how do you have any control over any of it? So the first part of being in control of you and your business, which is really the key, but you have to be in control of yourself in order to be in control of your business. It's a little trick there. So in order to be in control of yourself, in order to be in control of your business, you have to know yourself. You have to know who you are. You have to know your strengths, your weaknesses, your little ticks, maybe the odd things about you, the fun things about you, the things that you really don't necessarily want anybody else to know, but that's the way it is. But we do that, definitely. Hang on one second. And hang on. Let me tell Crystal really quick. All right. So back to where I was. All right. All right. So the other thing is, understanding who we are and taking control of ourselves is a big part of accepting ourselves, a way that we confront ourselves on who we are. So it's not really the best word, but it definitely is, because confront has a tendency to have a negative connotation to it. But in my opinion, you do have to confront, and you have to really look in at who you are, at all those pieces of yourself, in order to be able to utilize them, to control them, and to be who you are naturally in yourself and in your business. So we learn who we are and what we do best by acknowledging all the little pieces in ourselves and who we are in ourselves. So when we look at it like that, we need to figure out what we do, who we are, all the little pieces, the things we don't like and the things we do like. When I first did this, I actually even took pieces of myself that other people had told me. So an old girlfriend of mine had a son who was deaf, and you always make up your own name signs when you develop your name. Like when my name is Audrey, and this is the sign for, this is A. So she said she came up with the name sign, which was off the chest, and then bright. So this is bright. And so her thinking was that this was A and that was Audrey. So A, Audrey. And I loved that. And she always said that I was bright. And I never sort of got that. It took me a long time to even accept that I was bright. And I took it in multiple ways, good, bad, and not so much all the way around. But that's beside the point. Either way. So what I wanted to do is give you a couple of examples from myself, from my old journal, on what these things were about myself and how they affected me in my business, so that you can better understand the purpose behind me asking you to do what you're doing, what I'm asking you to do. So one of the things is that I'm a ritualist, if you will. I like rituals. I like things to be just so. I like ducks in a row. I like all those things. So what I have is a ritual to get started with business. And for me, that ritual itself can take many different forms. I happen to like saging my office. So just as a for instance, this morning before we started this, I got my sage out, I lit it, and I fanned it all over my office and all over myself. It gives me a calming, centered feeling. So that part of it is the control that I take in centering myself, calming myself, and being present in the moment. I am a ritualist, and so that is what I do. You can look at rituals in a lot of different ways too. Like, for instance, cooking dinner. For me, I have to have the kitchen clean before I cook dinner. I can't go into a dirty kitchen. So literally, I can clean the kitchen. If someone hasn't done their job before dinner time is ready to be cooked, I have to clean the kitchen before I can cook. So in a way, that's a ritual as well, because it's the thing that keeps me focused. It keeps me where I am. I like my things just so, the ducks in a row, all of that stuff. And the ritual is what keeps me in that ducks in a row space. So I am a ritualist, and that's how I apply it to my business, is that I have a routine, but it is actually a ritual, just like with the sage and everything else. So that is, and I am really routine oriented. I do like my routines. I do like things just so. And I do know that too. And it's what keeps me on track, is if I don't have things just so, then I won't. There's a reason why I have my own designed calendar, because I couldn't focus with anybody else's calendar. I needed my own way of doing things to allow flow. So I created my own calendar specifically to be able to use. So let's see, what's another one? Well, here's another thing that you can think about too, is that you can be completely opposite in a lot of things. You can be brave and you can be afraid at the same time. Um, you can be afraid and still do it. It's nerve wracking, for instance. It takes some bravery to get in front of everybody. And is someone there? Is someone even watching? Am I stuttering? Am I doing this? I mean, you just don't have any idea. You just go. So I'm being brave as well by doing this. So I'm brave and I'm fearless and I'm fearful at the same time. So I'm afraid and I'm brave. And that is still what keeps me going in my business is if I feel that edge, I know that I'm on that edge. I know that I'm in that space of being uncomfortable, which indicates to me that I'm on the right track. Another thing is, let's see, that because I am bright and sunny, so to speak, I'm a little shining star. I'm good on video. So I use video in business. Okay. That is part of who I am. I am bright. And so you're going to see it on video. So knowing that gives me the control of how to do things best for myself in my business is to use video. And like just for instance, my coaching is done on video. We don't do it phone. I do it live on Zoom, period. I don't want to just hear you on the phone. I don't want you to just hear my voice. I want video. I want to see your face. I want you to see my face. I want you to see me smile at you. I want you to see me everything, period. It's what makes it more effective for me. So I have that control over me. All right. Next is I read. I read a lot. I am in the process of reading. Oh, I don't even have it sitting out here. Okay. I'm in the process of reading a book about, actually, I've got several books going, but the one that I'm reading right now is about Aphrodite. And it's actually a professor's book that he wrote for his thesis. And don't ask me why, but I like the goddess thing. So I found that book on Aphrodite and it's really quite fascinating. It's really kind of a tough read, but it also gives me really cool insight. So I have control because I read, I have control over the information that I know and the information that I know and how I can apply it into my business. So I have multiple books. I have marketing books, I have business books, I have self-improvement books, I've got, women books, I've got books everywhere. And all of those books contribute to who I am and the control that I have over my business. I'm also a researcher. And the researcher part of myself is a huge, I know that going into research, I can dive down the rabbit hole and I can have a hard time coming back. So part of being a researcher, I also know that I can be obsessive and that I can get stuck on Facebook. I can get stuck on something that I'm researching. So that's part of being in control of my business as well, is recognizing that I have that negative thing happening in me too. The research part of it is a good thing. The obsessiveness is not, at least when it is detrimental to me not doing the things that I need to do for my business. So being aware of what I'm doing when I start obsessing is, oh, I'm doing it. I need to come back on track on what I'm doing right now. All right. So that is how, when you know those things, you have a major part of control over yourself, because the recognition, which again, I'm back to the confronting who you are and what you do, that is what gives you everything that you need to know. And that keeps you in control of yourself, which in turn keeps you in control of your business and keeps you in control of where you want to go. So the exercise is that you need to write your list. So this is, I'll give you a little, oh, there we go. So that was just the beginning of the list. I have multiple more lists. I have lists that are full of negative things. I have lists that are full of positive things. But the idea is to dig deep. Sit down, write out every single thing that you can think of. And I mean, even little silly things like I'm unsophisticated in my opinion. I'm not necessarily that sophisticated. I do like, sort of sophisticated things, but really when it boils down to it, I'm just, I don't want to say I'm a NASCAR kind of girl, but that's kind of it, even though NASCAR isn't my thing. But um, I'm not that. I'm also kind of bloodthirsty. I'm a hunter. I like to hunt, even though I haven't actually been able to go do the type of stuff that I want to do. Um, I I am. Let's see. I can be very weak, and I have an addictive personality, and I know that. And knowing those things, confronting yourself about the negatives is the biggest thing towards taking control of yourself and your business. So that is your assignment on this. This is the first part of taking control of yourself and your business is everything. Go for the good, go for the bad, go for the things that make you uncomfortable. If they make you uncomfortable, you really need to confront them. You need to examine them. And you need to say at that point then, how does this affect me in my business? Why? Because the thing is, if we don't understand this, it all just runs over us. Everything just runs through us and we don't have any control of ourselves. It's just, I got to do this. I got to do this. And you're all over the place. You have to have control. And in order to have control, you have to know who you are. Good, bad, and different. It doesn't matter. So this is it. Know who you are. Make your list, the good, the bad, the indifferent. If it makes you uncomfortable, you really need to talk about it with yourself. All right. I recommend journaling about all of these things as well. I think that that's a very important thing. If you don't journal, I recommend getting going on journaling. It's a huge, huge thing. Just like I talked about in the last training, the non-dominant handwriting, huge to get that going. Not only just the non-dominant handwriting, but also just journaling. Because I have a business journal. And I have a non-dominant handwriting business journal. So I have two different journals just for business alone. My personal journals, oh my gosh, I've got a bookcase full of old ones over there. They're dated and everything. So journaling is key. And you don't have to write. You can draw. You can do all kinds of different things. You can do it on the computer. I know my mom journals on her computer, but I like to have the paper and the pen. It's very personal to me then. Okay, so the second part of this, taking control, is a lot to do with how you work best. So first we need to know who we are. Next, we need to know how we work. So what you need to do is go through the processing of business. So you're going to take yourself and you're going to say, am I a list maker? Do I get distracted? Down the rabbit hole we go. Facebook much? Yes. Okay. So beside that, so do you get stuck on podcasts? Do you get stuck reading and you're reading for 3 hours? Do you get stuck? I know this is one of my big things is I got to make dinner tonight. What am I going to make for dinner? Oh my God. It's my dinner night. What am I going to make? I don't even know. And I can get stuck on that rabbit hole right there and it distracts me. So am I distractible? Absolutely, I am. So I need to know those things because in the process, I need to figure out what does work for me as I work. So I'm a list maker. I have a list on my day planner. This list tells me what I need to do. And I'm actually kind of kind with myself because if I don't get it finished, I actually can roll it over to the next day. So I've gotten a lot nicer to myself with that, but that's beside the point. What you need to know is where you are in your processing. So like I said, are you a list maker? Do you wait until the last minute? Are you done weeks before your deadline? Do you deliberate? Do you do an excessive amount of researching and never come to conclusions? Are you writing or drawing about any of this? Are you exercising? Do you fly by the seat of your pants? Do you make pro and con lists? Do you just put your head down and just bully your way through things? That's me, big time. And that's not listening to yourself, is when you put your head down and, do you procrastinate? Do you futurize? This is a big one. Do you do things based on 6 months from now, a year from now? Or are you doing things right here in the present? So that is the next part of being in control of your business is, how are you working? Do you sit down at your desk and do you just go? Okay. Do you have your priority list ready? Do you do your priority list? Are you making forward progress? What is it that you need to do to get yourself moving forward? That's part of taking control. And part of taking control is recognizing the good, the bad, and the indifferent of how you're doing things. So again, you need to sit down. Another list. I know, I'm really sorry about that. Another thing is list. You're listing out how you work during the day. All right. What are you doing? Are you taking breaks? Here's another thing. I take breaks. Oh my God, I never used to take breaks. I could sit here for 10 hours and just, because, put my head down and just go, 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 go. That's really, really not good for you. You have to take a break. So I have my water, right? But you know what? I still got to get up and go pee. I got to go refill it after I drink it, right? But not just that. It's not just to get up and move around break. I get up and move around, yes. But I also will go and lay down on the hammock for a half hour during the day because it's quiet time. The dogs come sit on me. I don't know why they enjoy laying on me while I'm on the hammock, but they do. But either way, I lay out in the sun. I get my vitamin D, and I enjoy that quiet, peaceful time. And it gets me away from it. And it gets me away from my desk. You must figure out what you're doing and how it's serving you and how it's not serving you. Because that's really the big thing about all of this, is none of this stuff is right or wrong. Okay. If you're afraid, that doesn't mean it's right or wrong or bad or good. It just is what it is. It's who you are. You a list maker, that's who you are. That's one of the things that you do. It's not right. It's not wrong, period. It's understanding and recognizing and confronting all of those things about yourself. There is no right. There is no wrong. It just simply is. So be kind to yourself through all of this. Let go of the judgment. This is not a contest. This is not a game. This is nothing where you need to look at this and go, ooh, everybody else will see this. This isn't for anybody else's dissemination. This is just for you. This is just for you to look at. And look at it you must. Because that is what moves you forward, is knowing yourself, knowing how you work, and taking control of all of those things. Taking control of the understanding of who you are and how you do things is key to moving forward in your business. So, your assignments are that you need to make your list. Make a list of all of your attributes, good, bad, and different. Come at it from a lack of judgment spot. Be kind to yourself. Oh, be kind. There's no need to be mean. Because look, where does that get you? Well, how does that serve you in any way? It doesn't. Be nice. This is just simply recognizing who you are so that you can take control of who you are. Okay? So, make your list. Be kind. Let go of the judgment. Just know this too. The first list is not the end of the list. This is just the beginning. Because the deeper you go, the more you find. And really, the more you start doing it, the more you go, oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I am that. Like you get to a point during the day and you go, oh, I didn't put this on my list. Oh, awesome. So you can go back and put those things on your list. And you will find that a lot of those times that those are something really important. And that's just it, is that you didn't even know it. You didn't even know that that was a huge part of who you are, and that it's something that can be so integrally helpful to you in your business. Pay attention. Okay? Journal on it. Write about it. Talk about your feelings with it. period. All right. Next is how. How do we do our business? How do we work? And I'm going to say it again. Be nice. Let go of the judgment. There is no right. There is no wrong. All we're doing is recognizing right now what we're doing, how we're doing it, and if it is serving us or not. Because this is the thing. If you're making lists and you're not checking anything off your list, then what's the use of making a list? It just makes you feel bad that you're not doing the things on your list, right? So come back to your own pieces and you say, okay, so I'm a list maker, all right? But I'm not actually following and checking off my list. So what in my pieces of me that I'm organized? Ooh, I'm organized. That's right, because I'm making lists, so I'm organized. I know that. Okay. So what's going to get me to make checks off of that? What else on my list? Well, I like my rituals. So if I set up a ritual in order to start checking things off my list, that might help, right? So it's then placing all the pieces together. So it's a little puzzle piece. You're stacking here, stacking there, getting the edges in, all right? You're looking for your corners and you're looking for your base, and then you start filling in all the little pieces, all right? Be kind. The only way to gain control of yourself and your business is to know yourself, is to get into what you're doing, who you are, and how you're doing it. All right? None of this works if you're not kind to yourself. That is really the big key. All right? So, I don't see any questions. No one's had any questions. If you have finished watching this at the end later on, please feel free to ask questions in the group. Please feel free to ask me specifically questions. If you want to IM me as something privately, that would be fine. I would be more than happy to. If you want some help with this, please let me know. If you want help with disseminating this information, or if you just want someone who's going to be objective and say, stop being mean to yourself. Because seriously, it's really hard. It's really hard. Let go of the judgment on yourself, all right? You're awesome. You're a beautiful, fabulous, wonderful woman. And this right here is the key to getting started on letting all of that out and being seen in your business. Okay? All right. I'm going to go. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will be talking to you guys soon.